Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Basscast Radio. I am your host, Brian Carter. And guys, the team is out and about again tonight. We've got a special guest with us on, Mr. Tucker Smith. We've had him on Basscast Radio before. This young angler just hit the Elite Series in 2025. It's his rookie season. And he just came off a great finish on Lake Hartwell, which he's already got a win on Lake Hartwell, a big win on Lake Hartwell. But I thought we'd just talk about the event and see what is happening in his world and what has been like this year being a rookie on the Elite Series. See a lot of stuff happening in 2025 from, anglers quitting to the changes that took place in the 2025 season. But first of all, before we get started, guys, I want to thank everyone who has tuned in and are watching us on YouTube. Thank you guys for checking out Basscast Radio on YouTube. Also, our podcast is growing big time. Thank you all on the podcast side as well. Guys, if you're listening to us on the podcast side, you can listen to us on StreamYard, iHeartRadio, Spreaker Network, which is where we upload to, as well as Apple iTunes, the #1 podcast out there. So check us all out there. And like I said, Basscast Radio on YouTube. We'd love to start monetizing there as well. So head on over now and hit the like and a follow button if you're watching us on YouTube, and the subscribe button, the notification button. That's what it is, isn't it, Tucker? Hit that bell. So everybody hit the bell so you never miss an episode of Basscast Radio. Tonight, I want to talk about this really quick. Monetization and the basscast.com. I don't care if you love the podcast, hate the podcast. If you're a follower or if you're a fan of the basscast.com and what we do, head on over now. There's a link below us in our Patreon. It's $4.95 a month. You get the podcast show early. I drop it out. I send it out to them on Sunday if you're a Patreon member. And it's only like $60. Guys, it's $100 to enter most tournaments now. And that's just local tournaments, not the ones that Tucker fishes. But most tournaments are $100. So you're supporting what we do here, right here, for $60 a year. So we love you to become a member. Like I said, you get the show early. We love for you to listen to the show, by the way. But you do get the show early. So check it out. Click the link below, Patreon, sign up, and become a member. And we really, really appreciate that. We're also, Thomas can't come on tonight, but we're also doing with Thomas's Patreon members, we are doing a kayak tournament this year with the Basscast this month. I think it starts June. We're doing a show. We're doing a sponsorship deal with him to all his Patreon members. So please become a member today and support the Basscast. And when we reach 25 members, we're going to start doing some events, some giveaways. And guys, by the way, thank you for being a part of that. Also, what a season so far. The Cat just wrapped up last weekend. Father-son duo of Ryan and Wayne Mason. Congratulations to them on taking the win. Also, the Basscast.com had its tournament a week before that. So lots of tournaments. The Basscast past weekend, because this uploads on Monday, everyone, will be at the Cat on Jordan Lake Jordan. So we're excited about heading down to North Carolina for that 2-day event where someone will take home $10,000. Guys, it's $10,000 each and every event this year for the Angler's Choice, whether you're fishing the 2-day tournament trail event or the Big Bass Bash. Someone will take home $10,000 for that. Congratulations to Tyler Trent, who won the a little over 6 pounds, I believe it was, won the Big Bass Bash event on Bugs Island. So congratulations to him and his partner. I think they end up taking home about $13,000 all total. So congratulations to them. And also, it's May. We got Major League Fishing coming to Smith Mountain Lake. We got the Cat 2025 Championship, where the last couple of years someone's taken home $25,000 in that event. We'll be down there for both days of that. And then at the end of the month, the basscast.com tournament series, our final regular spring event until I think it is. You have to check calendar. But I know May 31st is our next one. So we'd love to have you, love you to be a part of that. And that's all that's going on right here at the basscast.com. But guys, Tucker Smith, what is happening with you, my friend? Welcome back to Basscast Radio. Appreciate you being on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
And guys, for you all who are watching, Tucker's on the water. I mean, we've talked about that with a lot of the young anglers. Well, is bass fishing your current job, or do you have another job, Tucker?
No, it's my current job. So,
we've talked about that.
Water as much as I can.
So we talked about that a lot here on Basscast Radio with the young anglers. Trey McKinney, Tucker Smith, all these young guys. It's a job to you guys, man.
It is. Yep. Being out on the water is the best thing you can do to sharpen your skills. Just get out there and fish as much as you can, fish as many different conditions as you can, and be out there as much as you can, because it's always changing. This time of year the fish are moving, so try to stay on top of them.
All right, so you just wrapped up Lake Hartwell. Second place, great finish, by the way. Nice payday on top of that. It helped for the rest of the year, keeping you out on the water. But, dude, you had a great event.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun for sure. I caught a bunch of bass all 4 days, so it was a lot of fun. And just being out there on a place that I've had a lot of history on and spent a lot of time on, it's always a blast getting to fish a place that it's not too far from home.
Yeah, that's very true. And you said during the interview, you spent a lot of time targeting the herring spawn. Let's talk about that a little bit. And if anybody don't break it down for anybody that really doesn't understand that.
Yeah, so the herring spawn, it's best in the morning. It's kind of a little bit different than the shad spawn because the herring the whole day most of the time. And I was basically looking for schooling activity in the mornings, and I had a couple places in mind that I'd caught some fish on in the past that have good herring spawns usually. And basically try to get there first thing in the morning and seeing if there's any schooling activity. And then also you can use your forward facing sonar to see under the water and see the fish actually eating the herring under the surface, and you're able to cast to them and catch them. So I started on a herring spawn every morning and threw a fluke and a topwater and tried to catch some of those big ones, because there was big ones everywhere all around eating those herring, but they were just tough to catch. Those Hartwell fish are the smartest fish, and probably some of the smartest fish in the country to catch. So you have to, either hit them while they're schooling, or you have to make them react to your bait a certain way and get them to eat it, and it's very tough to do.
Did you have one location dialed in, or were you kind of running a pattern each and every morning?
I had a couple places that I was trying to hit every morning just because I knew the quality that was there. Had caught a couple nice fish there in practice and knew that there were some other big ones down there. I've saw them on the graph, seen them blowing up in the morning. So I knew there was big ones around this, couple areas that I had confidence in. So I tried to stay around those in the mornings.
Or the shad that you were, like I said, the herring that you were finding, was there feeding fish around each and every pocket, or was it, were they shallow? Were they deep? What was the pattern that you had to run?
Yeah, mostly I tried to find an area that was around a lot of spawning areas, a lot of spawning pockets, shallow flats that were, right on the mouths of those shallow pockets where those largemouth can go up and spawn, and they can slide back out and instantly just start feeding on those herring, so they don't have to go too far. And the area I was fishing, it's kind of like a funnel to where all those spawning areas kind of meet into one, and it seemed like it held a lot of fish. And I think a lot of fish use that funnel as a highway to start feeding back up.
Were the fish running back and forth? So you had that window of opportunity, like you were talking about? Was that the window that you were speaking of, that they would go back spawn or go back to the beds and then they would come out and feed?
I mean, it was pretty much the end of the spawn, so most of those fish
Okay.
had already spawned, and they were already moved out there to those flats to feed on herring, and then so I was basically hitting them in the post spawn.
The flats that you were fishing, were they sand flats, or what was particular about these flats?
It's usually clay bottom. It's like super
Okay.
hard clay bottom that the herring like to spawn on, and they just try to find the hardest bottom they can find. It's kind of like shad too. Shad want to spawn on rocks or docks or
Right,
just
right.
hard cover. And so yeah, I was just focusing on trying to find hard cover, hard bottom around those funneling areas where those fish were coming out of the spawn.
If for someone who's never fished the like I said, the herring bite itself, are there some tips that you could give someone?
Yeah, usually you got to cast a couple times, and if they don't bite, you got to move on to the next group of fish, because those fish are super smart. They usually get one presentation at those fish and then they're done. So I always try to keep the troll motor 10 and move around as much as you can. And unless it's a herring spawn and there's a lot of fish in the area, you can kind of sit around and wait for them to either school or move up onto that point to eat those herring. But the biggest thing with herring fishing is you got to move really quick and adjust to, if you're not getting bit, you got to move. And if there's fish there and you make a cast and they come up and look at your stuff, you got to move and come back and hit it later, because a lot of the times you don't get more than one chance to catch those fish.
So how big was the window that you had? That window you were talking about early in the morning, a couple hours or an hour?
Yeah, well, the best bite was the first 30 minutes of the day, and
Okay.
then
Okay.
but you had until about 9 o'clock is when it was really good, and then after 9 o'clock the herring spawn kind of slacked down, and then it picked back up in the afternoon.
So most of the day, did you have your limit early in the morning, and then you kind of went out and just upgraded or practiced throughout the day?
No, I was trying to catch one or two big ones in the morning on the herring spawn, and then I went out
Okay.
to fish hard structure, brush piles, points, stuff like that, saddles. Um, but I was mostly trying to catch a big fish every morning, one or two big fish in the morning, and then catching a bunch of spots, catching you know 3 pound spots. Those are
Yeah.
good ones out there. So I was trying to get a limit of 3 pound spots, and then at the end of the day, I was actually going in bed, and I caught a couple nice ones doing that as well in the tournament. That helped me out.
So we watched it on live. I did, and hopefully our audience did as well. But watching on live, and spent a lot of time deep looking at that forward-facing sonar.
Yep. Yep.
What were you looking for when you were watching the FFS?
Mostly I was looking for hard structure that those fish were swimming around. Mostly I was looking at brush piles,
Okay.
and it seems like a lot of fish right after they spawn, they go straight to the brush or they go to the herring spawn. And I'd say half and half go, half go to the herring spawn, half go to the brush. And then after those ones that go to the herring spawn, after they go to the herring spawn, they go to the brush. So the brush is kind of where they end up. So that's what I was doing. I was looking for as much brush as I could and using my forward facing sonar to find brush, and then actually go to those brush piles and look around, throw a worm, and I was throwing a Nico rig as well as a shaky head, and also a drop shot a little bit too. But I was just targeting those brush piles, trying to catch as many spots as I could and coal up.
Yeah, that calling up part was the fun part. So,
Yeah, it was for sure.
so I read the press release from Bass, and you using a lot of Gary Yamamoto baits.
Yeah,
But we saw a lot of the guys throwing the Senko, and it was a big bait for this past weekend. And how
yeah.
important, we talked about the Senko. It's a very important bait this time of year. Guys, you should have it. If you don't have the Senko tied on, you're crazy. I love the Senko. I'm not gonna lie. I throw a wacky rigged all the day on time myself. Between, like you were saying, a drop shot and a Senko, that's my main two that I have tied on this time of the year. But how important was that 5-inch Senko that you had tied on?
It was extremely important. It's something about that Yamamoto Senko that has that extra salt in it. It wiggles a little bit more than the rest of the Senkos that I've thrown, and it just gets bites. It seems like a lot of those fish that come right off the bed, they want something that's not too aggressive. They want something that's a little more subtle, a little bit slower fall. And so that's why I was targeting the fish with that Senko. And I've had a lot of success with the Senko this time of year. Just right when they get off the bed, either wacky rig or Nico rig or
Right.
shaky head. It's just a good bait all around you can throw.
Did you have any of yours weighted, or were you just going with a straight weightless throwing a hook?
I weighted mine. I threw a Nico
Okay.
and then as well as a shaky head for those offshore fish. I did go up shallow and fish for some fry garters and some spawners with the weightless wacky rig, but mostly I caught most of mine on shaky head and a Nico rig out deep.
And you mentioned the colors you're using. There, I don't think I wrote that part down. What was the main color? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was throwing mostly green pumpkin in the mornings, and
Okay.
just with that lower light conditions, it that puts a better contrast in the water for those fish to see. And then as the sun got up, I was switching to a morning dawn color, and it seemed like they liked that color better once the sun got up.
Guys, I ain't gonna lie to you. Keep some Cincos in your bag. And I'm a big fan of watermelon red. I love it. Like you said, the morning dawn. Um, Lots of different colors, but it should be in your arsenal this time of the year. Let's change up from the event. Like I said, congratulations on that second place finish. Um, Great check on top of that. Kind of, as you guys see, he's out on the water. It helps pay the bills. But
Yep, it
2025 rookie season. How's it felt, man? How's it, going from the college, which is when we interviewed him last, into this? I mean, you're fishing against the big boys.
yeah, for sure. It's a lot of fun just looking around, seeing all the guys you've watched on TV for so many years. They're fishing right beside you, so it's crazy to look around and see all that. But man, it's honestly just a good time being out there fishing. I don't really pay attention to the competition. Just trying to catch as many fish and as many big fish as I can. So you're fishing against the best in the world, but you can't really think about it like that. It's you versus the fish. So you just kind of have to keep your head down and stay focused and catch as many as you can.
So the northern swing's right around the corner. How do we feel?
I'm excited for the north swing. I like going up north, catching a lot of smallmouth. Was probably, I'd say, I don't know. It's a close second, but behind spotted bass. I don't know. I like all three species, but smallmouth are definitely super fun. It's hard to pick which species you like. You got
Yeah,
largemouth. I live on Gunnersville, so I mean they're just a lot of big largemouth here, and then Lake Lanier and Hartwell, you've got giant spots. I love catching those too, but there's nothing like catching a big smallmouth and it jumping like crazy.
that is true. Um, you guys all know Tucker had a great college career. How important, if you're talking to someone now, how important has that been for your success, that college, being able to travel, go to many different bodies of water, and, how important has that been for your success now?
It's been huge. I think college fishing is the best thing that I ever did. to learn and go to all these different lakes and get experience. It also, if you get a flat tire or something happens on the road, you know how to fix it. You figure out that kind of stuff. You go through that. So it's a really good learning experience. You get to travel with a buddy and have a lot of fun and go to all these different lakes that the opens go to. And it really helps out. If you want to end up trying to fish professionally, you definitely need to try to go fish in college for somewhere, because it's a really good opportunity to learn a bunch of stuff about these fisheries.
Yeah, guys, if you're, like I said, like you were saying, if you guys are looking, you really want to do fishing, you need to go through the college ranking. I mean, yes, you can come in, you can go through the opens, but just being able to have that buddy system. Tucker said he's out on the water now with a buddy, but just to have that buddy system, that's probably just as much, almost as important as the whole experience together, is getting used to fishing with someone. You do fish the team series. And a lot of guys will, I don't know, did you grow up fishing some of the team series before you went into college?
What'd you say?
Did you grow up fishing any of the team series events
Oh,
before
yeah.
you joined college?
Yeah, I did for sure. I fished a lot of stuff around the house growing up on the Coosa. I grew up on Logan Martin and Lay Lake, and I fished a bunch of team stuff out there. And that was a really good learning experience, fishing against some of the best fishermen in Alabama. So learned a lot from that too. But it seems like, you go to those tournaments and there's not as many boats, but you go to a college
Right.
tournament and you get to figure out how you can compete, how you can break down the lake when there's 250 boats on the lake. And that's a big deal. Anybody can go out there when there's 10 boats on the lake and go to your favorite holes, but to go out there when there's 100, 200 boats out there, it's a lot of the stuff's taken. A lot of those places are gone, people are sitting on them, so you got to figure out how to adjust and how to make decisions on the fly.
What's been your if we're midway the elite season, guys. If you guys, like I said, hopefully you all watched over the weekend, we're midway. What's been your biggest takeaway so far from your rookie season and mid-year?
Looking around and trying to take it all in, not take advantage of it, because I've been blessed to be there, and it seems like a dream still. It hasn't really set in that I'm on the Elite Series, and just to be there and fish against that caliber of fishermen is so much fun, and it makes you better fish against those kind of guys.
Like I said, we got the Northern Swing ahead. You guys make sure you tune in to Bassmaster.com and check that out. Make sure you follow Tucker along the journey throughout the rest of the season. Instagram, the main place, Tucker?
Yeah, Tucker Smith Fishing's my Instagram handle, and then I've also started a YouTube series so you can watch along all the tournaments that I'm going to. I think it's just Tucker Smith Fishing as well for my YouTube, but I've got a camera guy, Hudson Tennell. He's filming everything and editing, so he's done a really good job, and it's a lot of really good videos, and you can learn some stuff about going to these different lakes as well by watching them.
All right, before you leave, man, we want to kind of pick your brain out here a little bit. It's been a hell of a 2025 Bassmaster Elite season. Scott Martin leaving, quitting. As being a young angler and seeing, I hate to say it's been a little commotion in the ocean. You say you don't look at it, and we say we don't observe it, but we really do. And it's kind of hard not to kind of take it in when it's in your face. I hate to say that. But you've done a good job handling it. What's been your takeaway? I mean, it's been, I don't know how to really ask this question. I mean, to be honest about it. I mean, shit's hitting the fan.
With all the drama and stuff. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of drama. There's a lot of people sitting at home on their couch typing on Facebook. So I think that just getting out and fun is the biggest thing, and that's what I try to do. That's what I to do. Me and Paul Marks and Emil Wagner and Andrew Loberg, those are the guys I travel with. But we just try to keep our heads down and fish and not pay attention to all the commotion going on. It's hard it's hard sometimes, but at the same time, it's been going on for 2-3 years now. If you're under
Yeah.
30 years old and you use live scope, everybody's talking about it. But it seems like some of the older guys are starting to use live scope a lot more now. So there's just a lot of hate in the world, but social media can be used for a good way, used for a bad way. But I try to use it in a positive way and have as much fun as I can because, you never know how long you'll be able to do this, and you never know how long you'll be able to fish professionally. So try to
True.
take every moment that I can, not for granted, and have fun with it.
All right, Tucker. Man, we appreciate you coming on and talking with us tonight. Like I said, Tucker out on the water, so we're gonna kind of let him go here and do his thing and get ready for the next Bassmaster. Where are we going next? Good gosh. I'm week to week, Tucker. I ain't gonna lie. There's so much happening.
Next, we're going to Lake Fork in Texas, and then we got a back Fork, and then Sabine.
Well, good luck in Texas. It's gonna be hot and
I
dry.
appreciate it. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, brother, man, we
It's going to be
appreciate
very
you.
hot.
Yeah, it's gonna be very hot. Well, we appreciate you coming on. Thank you for talking with us tonight. And guys, we're gonna be right back. I want to thank Tucker for coming on with us tonight. What a great young man. He was out on the water, so I don't want to keep him too daggone long. Great event for him, finishing second place. Like I said, it is his home body of water, so you kind of expect that. But at the same time, we've talked about that many times about anglers choking on their home body of water. And we've seen that happen more times than ever. That, it just goes to crap. But he was able to handle it, find the fish that he needed. I didn't want to bring this up. 14 ounces. That's all I separated. First to second place was 14 ounces. So really, really close for Tucker. His day will come. Like I said, I've met him. I think I met Tucker. I met him last year. He was at the Red Crest event at a booth. And I told him at the end, man, look, we don't want to see him at a booth in 2026 when we'll be back in Knox Vegas for the next Bassmaster Classic. And you guys know the basscast.com will be there as well. Guys, hopefully next week the team will all be back with us. So we're really excited to have everyone back on board. It's been a lot going on here at the basscast.com. And like I said before, when we got started, we're going to be on the road the next few weekends. That vehicle you see behind me, which I wish it was wrapped, by the way, that'd be freaking awesome. So if you know somebody who wants to wrap it, we're going to be chasing bass the rest of May. I think I'm home one weekend, but I'll be gone the next 3 out of 4 weekends covering tournaments here at the basscast.com, Basscast Radio. By the way, on the line, that's our newsletter. Carson Maddox, Calvin Herndon, Bruce Callis, 3 amazing, great writers. You're getting the college, you're getting old school, you're getting new school, all a part of that. On the line, I shared the links. Please subscribe, be a part of it. We're trying to really build this up. We think we do a really great job with that show. So, with that newsletter. So be a part of that newsletter as well. And also, guys, we've got a new podcast show called The Bass Vault. That's right, The Bass Vault. Head on over now and hit the subscribe button. It's a 5 to 15 minute podcast show. It is AI. I'm not going to cover that up. It's AI done, but it's written by our writers, Bruce Callis, Calvin Herndon, and Carson Maddox. It's just turned into a 5 to 15 minute podcast show. We're going to be dropping one each and every Wednesday morning, going up at 5 a.m. It's audio only. And it's just little tips that could help you out on the water, hopefully make your day a lot better. So check it out, The Bass Vault. Wherever you listen to podcasts, whether that's Apple or iHeartRadio, StreamYard, or Alexa. Forgot about that. Alexa. You can listen to Alexa as well, or Spreaker, and that's where our podcast is hosted. So check it out, The Bass Vault. But guys, really appreciate our boy coming on, Tucker Smith, hanging out with us for a little while tonight and talking about Lake Hartwell and his great finish. And hopefully you guys, learn a little bit about herring, bass, fishing, and chasing the food. And that's what the bass are doing. Guys, if I ain't gonna lie, if you've never been striper fishing, it's crazy going striper fishing at night. I did it with a friend of mine, and just hearing the striper chase the fish, casting out, catching a big old striper, it's really freaking fun. And you're kind of doing the same thing with bass as well. You just don't have that big, you ain't gonna hear that big splash that you'll hear with striper fishing, but it's gonna be the same reaction and the same great catch. And it's the time of the year to do it. I know here at Smith Mount Lake, I think I ain't gonna say we're all the way spawned out. We kind of talked about that with some of the anglers over the past weekend at the Cat Spring Smith Mount Lake Championship. We kind of talked about that a little bit, and some were still seeing the bass on some beds or going back and spawn again, or bass that hadn't spawned because it until the last couple of days. It has been pretty cool around here at night and warmed up to about 75 to 80 degrees during the day. So the water temperature around the 55-degree mark here. And if you want to find the water temperature at Smith Mount Lake, our home body of water, you can also head on over to the basscast.com for that and click on weather 24/7. And you will see the charts for a lot of different, it's about 5 or 6 different locations, the water level. We try to keep you in the know of what's going on right here on Smith Mount Lake, our home body of water right here in Central Virginia. So, guys, thank you for listening to Basscast Radio. Don't forget, like I said, please subscribe, hit the follow button. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit the notification bell and the subscribe bell so you do not miss an issue of Basscast Radio. Have a great night, everyone. We will see you all right back here next week.